Good morning, friends. This is video number 5 in explaining that very important movie, Space Odyssey 2001. Today is July 19th, 2023. So here we stopped last time. We stopped at Ishmael, drawing a triangle and looking up as if he's either drawing a triangle in a form of some kind of evil, or looking right and left, he knows that, and then, or when he looks up at the leopard, which is really, in fact, Lah or Hal, or the god, right, of Arabia that sent the Hyksos to build the pyramids and so on. And then there was a red horizon. There is that other possibility of red being demonic world or demons. They will come up later, as I will show you. And it seems like the blue color in this movie is utilizing the red, or demons for that matter, who supposedly, could be humans thinking they're demons, or devils or something of the sort. Or they could be spirits or whatever it is. I have suspicions and doubts to them being just spirits or whatever it is, but that's in this movie, so let's enjoy the show. Here, now, the red horizon, now Ishmael, and then the red horizon, something red is rising because he himself, Ishmael, or Ismail, called me Ishmael, Herman Melville, remember? Gave eventually out of his lineage, appeared Islam or Prophet Muhammad, his heir, for example. All right. So this is like an era, 2,000 years between Ismail and Muhammad. Now here, there is a dawn, right? After all this darkness in Arabia, Ishmael was the last, supposedly, was the last prophet before Muhammad, and then there is like some 2,000 years before them, something like that. I don't know the exact number. So as I told you, Kubrick usually blanks the screen and to denote like area or a span of time, if you will, an era between so and so and so and so. So this is now Mecca, and this is during the time of Prophet Muhammad. I will reveal to you that this here, the one who wakes up first, everybody is asleep. Asleep here meaningly they're just asleep. But then there is an apparition, according to them. And they believe there's an apparition. The Kubricks, they believe there was an apparition there. But they doubt or try to argue that it's not God, but it is, right? And now the one who wakes up there is this particular one, and he's like his nation, the Meccans, they're asleep. And then revelations begin to come. And he starts speaking revelation, shouting revelation, right? Trying to wake up his people. And notice also the music. Now Kubrick puts the music not of Strauss, Zarathustra, or Blue Danube, or whatnot, right? This is the ligeti or ligeti music, which is satanic music. So what Kubrick is saying is that this apparition or this revelation is really from, who, right? Satan or something of the sort. Not true, of course. They insist on that erroneously, but not true. However, that's my point of view, that's his point of view. What I'm trying to explain to you here in this movie is what this movie is all about and the revelations that are in it, of course. So now, this man wakes up and he gets revelation, wakes up from slumber, the sleep of uneducation, the sleep of being heathen, and uninitiated and have not received revelation from God and so on. And that's sleep, is considered sleep. Now he wakes up his people. He starts his mission. And there's the cubic house in Mecca. And true, it is really in the mountainous region of eastern or western Arabia. And they were living in a hole, remember? Now he's here. Rabbi Kubrick is saying that them Arabs are living in a hole, right? In the desert, and then suddenly that happens, right? And they rise up, right? And there's like conflict and upheaval and brackets and noise and bickering and fighting and so on, and then so first they get away from it. Like the Meccans basically start fighting this man, Prophet Muhammad, and so on, because he's something new and so on. But Mecca was a very civilized city. What was in it is too sophisticated for the contemporary cities like Constantinople and so on. You may not find like a big wall, because Arabs really never built walls around their cities, really, if you notice. Why? Because they're always brave, right? They didn't care if they got invaded, because they were always ready to rise up for the occasion. But it was sophisticated, whether it's in culinary, whether it's in habits and so on, but it was also problematic in some of the habits. Did you notice that this monkey did this with his hand, right? And he touched the monolith, right? And then backed out. This gesture of touching the monolith like this, you will see later. Now here, this corroborates my fact here, is that Muhammad had his first companion, and that's his first successor, Abu Bakr. And he's down with him in that particular enclosure. Now he got two more coming, right? He's beginning to attract more followers. This is similar, by the way, the book Thus Speaks Zarathustra. He takes the timeline of Muhammad in the mountains and so on and so forth, and then the narration or the milestones of his life of Muhammad, and he takes it and he uses it. Oh yeah, and then he, of course, modifies it to be the other way around. Zarathustra, Rabbi Nietzsche took most of his knowledge and so on from Islam, and he, in fact, modified it to suit his purpose, right? So the cave, that's where Prophet Muhammad used to go before, when he got the revelation, it was there, right? All right. Now here, that proves my point right there, that very scene. What does that very scene tell you? This monkey actually is kissing. If you come close, you don't see it, but if you come close to the screen, you will see that he's kissing. His mouth is now on the corner of the monolith. The corner of the monolith, if you go to Mecca, that's where that black stone is. It's not on the side, but it's in one of the corners, and that's where Muslims come and circle the cubic house or Kaaba, right? 7 times, and one of them, if they can, of course, they come and kiss the stone. I did that myself, right? And then That's what this monkey is doing now. If you come, you can't see it, but if you come close, I'm looking at it very closely now, he's kissing the stone. Right? I mean, the black monolith right in the corner, almost exactly at the height of man, where that really black monolith, uh, black stone in the cubic house is really. So there you go. I mean, it can't be any clearer than that. Now, as you can see, there are more followers. You know, they're jumping on the wagon now, riding the train of this new religion. Did you see that? He just kissed it again, right? There you go. He just kissed it again. So twice, he kissed it twice so far. And there's that very small monkey right behind him, right? Really, if you look, that's the number of his early companions in Mecca, right? And one of them is his distant kissing cousin, if you will, not like first cousin, Ali, who is the fourth caliph in Islam and who is married to his Prophet Muhammad's daughter. Now, he's not really cousins, they join way up at the grandfather, I think. And that's the first community in Islam. That's it. Now, I'm going to resent the fact that he's portraying us as monkeys, but he portrayed the Jews as monkeys as well. What he's trying to do here is make the movie appealing, because if these were men, won't be appealing. That's what he, appealing about this movie and attractive about this movie is that he uses primitive objects such as monkeys, such as deserts, such as colors and so on. However, if you look closely, there is the silhouette in the distance of the blue, right? Blue, as I said, denotes the Jews or the blue flames of the devil, as Huxley says. And then that's there, right? So they're there. What they're saying, what Kubrick is saying, and Nietzsche and whatever, right? Is they were always there. That is true. They were not in Mecca. Rather, they were in Medina, a little bit distant in the distance, that northern city of Yathrib or Medina, right? But this is not there yet, right? All right, here he shows you that God I told you about. This is La, right? And the music, of course, is that of the satanic legacy music, right? And then now the revelation continues, right? You see now the crescent moon is not upside down, now it is upward. And these are the two horns of the devil, right? And then there is that sun. And then what he is showing is the black monolith, right? That La now impacted himself or settled down in the black monolith, right? That's metaphorical. It's a simile, right? What he means by that is like God, we say in Islam that black cubic house in Mecca is really the house of God, but that's not where he really lives, right? Now the Jews have doubts about it. They see that's where he is, or he lives around that. That's where he moved out from Arabia into North Africa and then Europe and then eastward, toward Persia, and that's what they say, right? That's the old world. Now that said, he's not really there, but what Kubrick is saying is that now God, or La, or Hal, put his new thing that was heralded by the wind and so on into this place, into this man, right? Okay, so as you can see, now that's stopped, and there's a new horizon, right? That's the desert now. As you can see, it's like There's the desert now. Count them. Four, I think, four, five, three, or four, five, two, or those chirps. And three crows after that. And now there are monkeys, and there's your four trees. Remember what I told you about four trees? The four trees, that sign is usually flashed by Jews. I don't know where it is related, but if you see the Jews of Yemen, right? I think it names the name of Allah, right? But the Jews of Yemen usually flash that as well, like the Erdogans and so on. They flash that. They have illustrations of a lotus, five petals on a lotus flower, and with one folded back, right? So it looks like as a four. It may denote the head of the devil. I really don't know, but that's what it is. So now here's Allah. There's no longer no longer the monolith. You don't see it here, and we're still in the enclosure and the four trees, and now in the horizon, and that's the north horizon. How do I know? Well, because Medina is north of Mecca, and that's where the Jews are, right? They are not in Mecca. They're in Medina, and they were a minority, and they are not the original inhabitants of Medina. Medina is an Arab town, and they immigrated to it like in the past, and sometimes from, greater Syria and so on. But that's that horizon. Now we're in the desert, and in the horizon there is that blue. And I see eight. Or nine, I don't know. So when you hear those thus speaks the register music, you will hear da 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 da, right? Three and two, but then there's the drum beat. The drum beat is 13. I counted 13. The 12 and 1. Now here, uh, here's the prophet, right? What the skeletons are, it's the skeleton of the tapir or the pig or other nations, right? So what he's doing is, Kubrick here is saying that this man is rummaging and checking out the remnants and knowledge and so on of other civilizations, right? Uh, Other civilizations, earlier civilizations. So he's like, what he's trying to say is he's learning and so on from other civilizations, not true false. There was nothing there before Islam. Eating also means like ingesting from the civilization. It's in Islam when it's in the Quran. Eating means adhering to a dogma or something of the sort, and Rabbi Nietzsche used it as repast, called it repast or something. Now he gets like knowledge, right? Ideas start coming to him. It's really revelation. See, now that's where the apparition or revelation comes to him. Whenever he's thinking, they should show you that La or Allah or the leopard, right? We don't see the leopard anymore. The leopard is gone now. There's a new thing, but the leopard exists here and there and so on. Thirteen. All right. What he's saying here is that this prophet and his nation, now he's converted from just uh, uh, missionary work, orations, uh, discussions, trying to convince people. That's what he's saying. Now there is that military aspect of Islam, right? So this here is a sword drill. Uh, and of course, like he's destroying the old, destroying. He tasted, uh, the old existing supposed, like civilizations, and he doesn't like it, and then he just destroyed it, right? That's what he's saying. So he's destroying the old. Everything that existed before him, he's destroying that. Two, the military is moving out now. Here, I see a big, which is really a nation or a society that denotes something, right? All right, two pigs, two pigs. What do they mean? I tried with that. When he came to Medina, this is his first state status as a state head of a state, and there's a state now, right? So there were two tribes. Those two tribes supported him, but I wouldn't think that's what he Kubrick means. Aus and Khazraj, who in fact ended up like 4 centuries later, ended up in Europe, right? I have evidence to that. Those two tribes that supported the Prophet and really were the cradle of Islam, not civilization, but Islam itself, eventually immigrated, and they're mainly in Europe, right? Yeah. So, but here in the early Islam, Muslims downed or basically destroyed, not destroyed, really rather opened up two main superpowers back then, Persia and Byzantium, right? And I think that's who they are, or that's who Kubrick means by, he destroyed those two, not destroyed those two dictatorships, if you will, and then freed its people, and then they were combined now into the fold, right? So that's what he means, but Kubrick thinks of them as pigs, right? Not Prophet Muhammad, he thinks of them as humans, and they're worthy of becoming like equal to him and his companions. So there's pretty much, that's where you are. I think the era of Muhammad in Kubrick's movie is about to come here to an end. Now behind him, as you can see, he's very close to the blue. So I think that's where in Medina is. So there's always that blue. The Jews in Medina and probably elsewhere, they weren't widespread like that. They were in Persia, not in Egypt, not in Europe, not in Africa. They were mainly, their main existence was in Arabia, probably in Greater Syria to a lesser degree, a little more in Persia, as a matter of fact, and that's it. And as you can see, there's a desert, and now in the distance there are mountains with blue. So I think we're still in the Medina here. He said one growl and then three, I think. Gibber, is that what you call it? And now, and then he got 4 or 5, right? But guess what? Now there's food. What is food? Really, food here means that they inherited the wealth of those two other nations, Persia as well as Byzantium. That's partially true, but not 100% true. And that's what he's saying, that those monkeys are now eating, right? meaning they're lining their pockets and becoming rich. No, that's not true. Oh, that history, what he's trying to say here is not true. Yeah. So now the followers of Muhammad are eating. They never ate before in this movie. And we're back again. Now we're in Egypt. Uh, that's the Sphinx. That's the pyramid. And the cave, actually, is really where, according to them, where God, Lah or Hal or the leopard, dwelled. Remember, they showed that before? And then that's the trees, right? Now I see one tree way in the back here. Well, shrubs and trees in the back, but near the pyramid is where the four are, right? And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's the three now. Right? 5 monkeys and 3 pigs. Here, in fact, there's a cave entrance to the pyramid, right? So Kubrick is saying that La or the leopard or Hal or God lives in the pyramid, right? Or he may be denoting what's called old idolatry, right? Idol worship. So as you can see here, there's a pig, and then prior to that, and as you can see, that's the one by himself, that's Prophet Muhammad, and these are his followers, right? And here, behind this monkey here, you'd see a dead pig as well. So there were 4, now there's one here dead among them, and they're feeding on him. So he may mean also not just money or wealth or anything else. He may mean that these people, the new nation, is ingesting people's ideas and so on, and after they destroyed them or killed them. Can't be farther from the truth, folks. So, as you can see, now this new Muslim community is gorging itself. This Muslim community is gorging itself, but now you see 2 young monkeys, meaning this is, and the weapons, right? They're raising their generations on weapons and dominance and so on and so forth. That's what he's trying to say. And now, those blue are spreading around, right? And there's a sunset. Now, this is a very important place here and event he's trying to date. And I think this will be the last of the Muhammad's time. Okay, this event is the Battle of Badr. The Battle of Badr is the most important battle in history. Because the Muslims won that battle, we have the new world now. Yes, believe it or not. What happened there was the Meccans gathered an army, right, of about 1200, I don't recall the numbers, and they came to basically put down that new religion of Islam. It's got some details to it, like so and so, right? Uh, 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 I don't mean to extend that. If you want, you can call on a Muslim scholar or somebody in the United States, and or even online, and they will explain the details to you. Uh, and the Muslims were like 300 and some, right? So they were outnumbered by 4 to 1, and they won that battle, right? And that in that battle, they killed actually the main leader of the Meccans. That big leader of Meccans was actually killed in that battle. That battle assured the existence of this new religion and its spread, right? You may think not, but that's what it is. You know by now, by view, by evidence, that this black monolith is the cubic house in Mecca, and they kiss that stone on the corner, right? And even the geographical environment and the milieu and the landscape and so on and so forth, right? So now Kubrick is moving from one epoch to another. This here Kubrick finishes the history of Islam. And he throws it out. But then guess what? There is a blue color behind him. But Kubrick is saying that the Jews are always there, right? Like surrounding and maintaining and containing and right? So all the success of Prophet Muhammad is being, like what he's saying, is being contained by the Jews, right? Not contained to be destroyed. Oh, no, no. That's not what it is. Contained means here is a beehive, and they're taking the honey, is what he's saying. That's what Nietzsche talks about, like so much honey, right? So much honey. All right. So now we're in space. So space here doesn't really mean. I will prove that to you later. Space here doesn't really mean. Uh, 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 doesn't really mean uh, space, so to speak. It really means the humanity in the world, right? And the spaceships are really those secret societies, if you will. But why space? It's because nobody can reach those people in space. Being hidden means nobody can reach you, right? So there are different ones. Now, first, when I watched this movie, I thought it's the same spaceship, but you'd see different spaceships here. So this is one. And then the blue. So the Blue Danube, why the Blue Danube? Because he's taken from Nietzsche, but the Blue Danube is a well-known piece of music. Oh, I love it, right? Uh, and you can also count the beat, right? You can count the beat and. But the Blue Danube really here in this movie denotes the Anglo-Saxons, really. I mean, he wanted to identify now the destination is really the Anglo-Saxons, right? Or Europe in general, the Gaul and Anglo-Saxons and so on, because now Islam is moving toward Europe. It moved to the east, but now it's moving toward Europe, and the spread was so fast and so potent and so effective that it's unprecedented in history. Neither there is anything afterwards that resembles it in effectiveness and in resilience and so on. This is not a religious lecture here, but I'm gonna keep explaining the movie. So that's Earth. It's blue, right? And then there is the first spaceship. Now, the shape of the spaceship denotes something. This here, I couldn't know what it was, right? This is a different spaceship. This one here is a different spaceship. If you look at the first one, this one has like 8 octagonal octagonal, and then there's like 6 supposedly engine, I think, motor rocket engines. And if you count here, uh, yes, you can even count sides on the ship. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 here, and there's 6 here, and there's an octagon, and there's here a hex, right? And so that's a different spaceship, which means a different galaxy. I heard before that there are galaxies, they liken masonry in the world as galaxies, right? Areas and galaxies. They have divisions. What is it called? Administration divisions. Administrative divisions, right? This could also mean the progress. They started with one thing, and then now their concept of the 8 and the 6 and the 9, right? Here's that god, but now you don't see the 2 horns, right? Or the crescent moon. This is a different spaceship. That one was like hex and its polygons and so on. This one is round, cylindrical, right? And then you can see there are 5 openings at the end. Go figure. Right? Outside of Earth means outside of humanity, really. This is interesting. This is very interesting. You can only see things in this movie if you come close to the screen and see, right? And watch. So this one here, I counted 12 ribs here, but I am making an assumption on symmetry that there are 4 on the other side, so it's surrounded by 16 ribs, the 1, 6, right? And then there's the 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, and there's the 3. But here, below, if you look here, on that, there's like some kind of a red spot, right? Right there, right? Right there. There's a red spot or a smear, right? If you come close to see that, you will find out what it is. I am looking at it now, and I went and searched. It is the emblem of the Chinese Air Force. So if you go to the Chinese Air Force emblem, that's what's in there. Now you may think that's modern day. No, folks. Now, Kubrick now time span is no longer available. He goes back to the time of Muhammad and explains it from start again, but in a modern term, right? And now he goes back and forth from the time of Muhammad until now, time of Muhammad until now, and he shows you the events. So now this is not, he didn't skip from the time of Muhammad into a new era. No, no, no. Now that eras until the end of Muhammad's era, right? Now he goes back and forth. There is no sense of epochs or eras or like centuries or whatever it is. Now the whole thing from Muhammad until now is one era, and it's portrayed now in this movie. Okay. So you saw that. That's very important. I will explain that later. It really means the time of Muhammad was. I'll wait on that a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Chinese Air Force emblem. What is this here? I learned, like those Masons, right? Masonics, they have the equal-sided cross with a circle on it. I live in America. I lived in America for 43 years, so I'm bound to notice things, right? Eventually, and so that's Masonry. And why it is in space? Like I told you, it's not in space, but it is hidden, right? So in space, who's gonna climb out of their house and jump up in space to find out about it? So space means like total concealment, total unreachability, and so on. But then you notice there's one that is complete and then lit, right? As if there are compartments in there and so on and so forth. And then there's the next layer or level, right? That is still being built, right? So what does that tell you? That's masonry, but it's work in progress, and it's always work in progress. So when they fill that out, and they complete that, and then it's occupied, and then they add another layer, right? So that's what it is. From here on, it gets very interesting. Then again, the Jews basically achieved their best against Islam by going into Europe and Germany in particular. Germany is very important milestone in the history of the Jews, right? Of Judaism, of Zion, or whatever it is. In it, they grew secret movements and so on, such as you know. And Gnostic movements and so on, such as Martin Luther uh, and Protestantism, against Catholicism. They divided the country and so on and so on. And later on, the Illuminatis and whatnot, they were always active there. Of course, not to forget that it completed, it evolved into like revolutions and insurrections and so on. And the prominent ones is like Martin Luther, the French Revolution, and what's his name, Cromwell, Oliver Cromwell, and so on. They basically destroyed the existing orders and then brought something new in. But it could also be earlier. This could also be earlier. I will explain that when it comes to that. This could be earlier than that. Could be 1,000 years old, and that's most likely what it is. I explained to you the possibilities, but the next one is more realistic. It'll come up. I'll show you. Okay, here the beat of the music is different from Zarathustra, right? But then we saw all the ships here, different ships, one Chinese Air Force emblem, and so on. But this here is different. This ship here is different. As you can see, it is sleek and fast. It gives you the it puts in your mind, or kind of convinces you that this here is something special, or it's like fast and sleek and and right. So it's different from the other ships. It's not like, doesn't show you what it really is. It's like a private jet. Let's put it this way. All right. So now we're inside of it. It's blue, of course. So this is Judaism, and there's like four lights up, and there's the one light on the right, right? And here you see that the only one passenger on the ship. So the only one passenger, meaningly, in that ship, which is the ship of the leader, only one can exist, and that's the blue. So leadership of Freemasonry, what they're saying here, the leadership of Freemasonry, or Masonry for that matter, is really belongs to one and one religion and one people. So if you're mucked up, whatever you are, monkey, you'll never rise to that level. They control it as its gods. That's what here it is, right? So you will notice on the screen, if you come close, these like flying saucers and stuff like that, they're real. They were experiments of the U.S. Air Force, actually. Those things looking like flying saucer. What does he mean by that? I don't know. I tend to a man and a woman talking and so on. I don't know. But now there is the story of the pen. I'll tell you what that is. So the flying pen, right? See? The floating pen. Okay, now if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there's 8 in the ceiling, 8 lights, right? So we had the 4 and 1, now we have the 8. Actually, you can even count the seats. The seats are, I remember, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 9 rows, right? 9 by 2 gives you 18. You know, the 1, 8 or 6, 6, 6. And then you're still in the blue. Not blue in the face, but blue. Now 2 lights. This is funny, you know, grip and so on. I never, you know, like I find this pretty funny, that the way she's walking and so on. I don't know why, but all right, the story of the pen. The pen denotes knowledge and authority, right? So you sign your name, and so this guy owns the pen. The blue, right? The devil, or you know, like Rabbi Haywood, right? Owns the pen, right? So he is the author, right? He is the ruler. And being alone means his likes only ride the ship or control that, you know, big round thing, you know, Masonic and whatever it is. And the flying saucer on the screen tells you that this, what he's trying to say is God-given right, right? And she's flying here with that funny hat, and then she put it in his pocket. Now here's the deal. The first revelation of the Quran, when Prophet Muhammad was in the cave in Mecca, you know, his mission, his first revelation was in that cave, right? Not the cave of Zarathustra or Nietzsche. Remember, he's left his home and cave, and you know, waited for the sun every day, and so on. His cave and the sea and his lake of his home, and so on. And then the first revelations speak of the pen, right? That he taught by the pen. He taught men what men didn't know. That was the first revelation of Quran. It's really in the Quran, the pen. And it's the story of blood clots, alaq, right? You'd find it there. Again, if you wish to know, you can ask a Muslim scholar, call a mosque or online or something of the sort, right? They will tell you the history of it. It's very interesting stuff. So even when he's asleep, he still has that right. There's right. Not true. So as you can see, her main job is to come here, and they show you that flying saucer on the screen in front of them. Her main job is to come and put the pen here, meaning this is the guy, you know, who strikes down the gavel. So space also means outside of the normal life, you know, social life, rule of law, or anything else. They just function, like a state within the state, hidden, like uh, invisible, right? Before your eyes. Is that how they say it? Uh, yeah, I think so. I forgot. All right. This is very important. Notice what I'm going to say here. The leaders or the executors of the trip are in a blue lit cockpit. In a blue lit cockpit. Remember, the cockpit lighting and color is very important. So here it is blue. I also noticed something else that I didn't notice under normal circumstances. The skulls of the pilots is elongated, right? So because they're blue, their skull is elongated to denote genius, right? Genius. Who's genius? I don't know. Now you may say this is a camera distortion, lens in 1968. No. I'll show you, right? So that's what he means. Now the main drivers, main flyers, main operators, main conductors, main pilots of the ship in the bridge or in the cockpit are really Jews, right? Just like Haywood is. And they're approaching Masonry. So their domain. This is impressive, folks. I mean, on movie level, shooting movie and special effect and so on, I am impressed here. First of all, I thought this was a low budget movie, but when you see that stuff in 1968, I think it was not a low budget movie. You know how people are here, they're like really right, and there's that huge entrance and all this. I think Star Wars took a lot from this movie, and the Star Wars special effects in the ships and notice how the entrance, docking entrance of the other side is red. They're genius, man. Rabbis flying the ship, they're genius, big heads, right? So here, he's overdoing it, but you need that to continue the amazement or the mesmerization of the movie here. Like, oh, look at that. Oh, man, space. So he psychologically mesmerizes you with stuff, and that keeps your interest and, curiosity still going on the other things he's inserting here. All right. So as you can see, this is a private jet, private spaceship, if you will, and whatever his name, Haywood, yeah, Robert Haywood, yeah, I think so. All by himself. I think there are 8 seats. If you look and then count the lights and so on, everything counts. This movie has left nothing uh, for as just meaningless presentation or representation or anything else, right? No, no, no. Colors, lights, everything counts, really. Seats, chairs, I think even wording, right? So let's continue with that. I'm gonna stop here for this one. It's now like almost an hour, and then I will continue later. So this is video number 5. I did a couple of addendums on video number 4, so I'll either try to attach them to the video or add them like in the playlist. So today is July 19th, 2023. I got interrupted on the phone a couple of times. Sorry about that, but hey, it's all right, you know. So there you go. We'll stop here. And have a nice day, my friend. Talk later.